This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services located on Kern Street in Exeter, Pennsylvania. Springtime is here, and that means it is time to start thinking about getting your yard looking its best. Do you really want to be in your yard all weekend digging things up and planting something new? Wouldn't you rather spend time with your family by the pool or doing fun things with the kids this summer instead of cutting the grass? Let the professionals at Keller's handle the hard stuff. They are family-owned and operated and looking forward to assisting you. Visit them on their social media page for more information. Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services. Get your free estimate today. Welcome to the Popko Project podcast, a platform for the discussion and discovery of arts and entertainment. We focus on highlighting people and events that add value to the world around us. Visit us on all social media platforms by searching the Popko Project or visit our website at thepopkoproject.com. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for listening. And we're live with the band Look Back Luna, and we lost one of them. But Look Back Luna, a new name, but not a new band. You guys, before that, you guys went under the name 570, and 0 was spelled out like the word. I think Alex is jumping back in here. Is that Alex?
Yes. Yep. Hello. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties.
That's what happens, man. It's 2022. Internet's wonky. You know. But I was just saying, the new band name, Look Back Luna, formerly known as 570. Excited to talk to you guys. I mean, I've seen your name throughout Northeastern Pennsylvania. I feel like 1,000 times, if not more. So you're a young band, a hardworking band. So I don't even know you guys. I've never had the pleasure of seeing you. I'm not sure how that's possible. But like I said, you guys are always playing. But if you guys could introduce yourselves, what you do in the band, and then we'll go from there.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Gabe, and I play the guitar, and I am the main vocalist currently.
My name is Alex. I'm the drummer. I also do background vocals.
My name is Kyle. I'm the bassist.
Cool. And you guys are young, right? Like I said, you guys are still in high school or just barely out of high school?
I'm still in high school. I'm going to graduate in like 2 months. So
okay, cool.
I just graduated college this past year, so I'm 23.
Jesus, you look younger than Gabe.
Yeah, I'm 21. I'm still in college.
That's a compliment.
Yeah. All right. So I had you guys younger than you are, but that's okay.
Yeah, we always get looped in whenever we play a show, and everyone says that, oh, they're 17, they're 17. We always get looped in with the youngin' down there.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, but you guys recently just kind of had I don't want to call it a transformation, but you guys changed your name. You were 570 for as long as I knew you, and it was the number 5, number 7, and then 0 was spelled out. And now you're called Look Back Luna, which is a cool name. And I'm curious to find out, why the name change, and why it is what it is, and kind of where you plan on going with it.
All right. I guess I'll go first. Seeing that our original band members are no longer with us, like our old bass player and old drummer, they left. So it's not so since like we have new members and we have like a completely different sound now, like we're stepping away from the super heavy metal and going more into like an alternative rock kind of vibe. So plus the name there's so much crap around here that's 570, and it's like there doesn't need to be a band either. So
yeah, I mean, I understand being proud of where you're from, and everyone kind of like gets caught up in the 570 and the 570 and 570, name the business, So yeah, you're right. It's constantly. I mean, I did like what you guys did with it. You know, you said the number 5, number 7, and then you spelled out 0. So that was a little bit of a twist on it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, how many businesses or names of places are 570, right?
Right.
Exactly. And I think another thing that we were also kind of trying to work towards is we were gaining a lot of, or some popularity at least, in places outside of Pennsylvania. Like some of our songs were being played in Mexico, other parts of the country as well. And we were kind of thinking, what does 570 say about us? For people that don't know 570, the area, or aren't from here locally, what do they gain from it? And what are we trying to put across with that name? So I think that we just decided that an identity change would be better, because we wanted something that people who aren't necessarily from the area could relate to and feel emotionally connected towards.
Yeah, you don't want to like pigeonhole yourselves into like, how do you expand outside of the area if you're kind of limiting yourself to, the 570. And that's one of the pitfalls. I remember when I used to work at the Weekender. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not, but way back, a publication years ago, before your time, it was this newspaper, believe it or not, and I kind of listed, the entertainment listings throughout the area, things to do, bands to see, bars to go to, all that kind of fun stuff. And our competitor, which was at the time the Diamond City, their website was called the 570, and it was funny how it's just kind of like that word and those numbers kind of like limit you to an extent.
Yeah.
Especially having a website called the 570, it's like, the website's worldwide. So yeah, I totally get that. That's I think that's a good move on your part.
Thank you.
And the name Look Back Luna, what's that in reference to? Anything?
I'm pretty into like, well, we all are. We're pretty into like space and somewhat of astrology. Like we all have like the NASA hoodies, and I've always been like super into space and astronauts and especially aliens. I'm big into that and those kind of conspiracy theories. And Luna meaning moon. I don't know. One day I was just like on Google looking at something and I saw that name and I was like, you know what, that'd be cool. And then like that thing Look Back just came to me and I'm like, well, and then I tossed it around to the guys and they liked it. So we needed to pick something too, because we were like working on a name for 4 months and it was getting really bad. So, that's what we came to. And I think it's doing really well. The design that got made for it, we've got a lot of positive feedback on it. Like we played a show over the weekend and we have like t-shirts and stickers, and a lot of the people that like bought stuff are like, oh, this design's really cool. So that's all, it's good to have some feedback like that.
And my dad actually made the design for our new look, because he's a graphic designer. And once we gave him the name and kind of came up with the style of everything, we're like looking for like a tarot card style, something really unique, something that you don't see a lot nowadays of that style. And we just sent it to him and he came back with the t-shirt design that we have and our sticker design and kind of our main logo. And we're very happy with how it came out.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you guys thought it that far ahead. Because a lot of times, even if someone likes your band, but they may not love you, you can still sell merch if your merch looks good and it's a cool design and it just looks good. So that's again very important.
Yeah,
you guys are beyond your years.
Well, we're lucky to have started our early music career, I guess you would call it, in an area where, I'm originally from New York, upstate New York. So there's not really as much of a music scene as there is here in NEPA. I've never seen anything quite like it. There's such a local hotbed of musicianship and musical ideas and local scenes and venues and everything like that. Coming from a place where that's not very common, it's super helpful to be around other musicians and get a lot of feedback from other people who play the same kind of music as us or kind of know what we're working towards. So I think the environment is also really helpful for us as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a great place. I mean, I always say when I used to host a radio show and I started doing this just to, stay involved, but like I would put the talent in this area up against anybody else. I just think it's really great, and it's good. It's cool for you to kind of compare what you've noticed and what you've witnessed to our little area here in northeastern Pennsylvania. So it's a great place. I mean, it's got its downfalls like everywhere else, right? But
It's cold.
yes, this weather is not doing it for me. But
No.
you mentioned you guys used to kind of be heavy metal, and maybe that's a reason why I didn't go out of my way on purpose to see you guys. Not that I don't appreciate that music, but I mentioned earlier that I'm a dad, so like my free time is very few and far between. So it's like when I do get out, when I do have free time, it's I kind of have to pick and choose. And heavy metal is not my thing. Why did you kind of go away from that style?
I feel like nothing against the genre or anything. Like I grew up as a metalhead, like listening to Slayer and like 80s thrash metal. But there just comes a point where like, especially what I've noticed in like newer metal music, it all just kind of gets like looped together, and it kind of just sounds the same. And I feel like with my especially like how I play the guitar, like I take a lot of influence from like Carlos Santana and Joe Bonamassa and like all these like old blues players, but I also like stuff from the 70s too, like Aerosmith and AC/DC is a really big band for me. Like that's what made me start to play the guitar. And putting it all together, it's like I don't know how metal even came out of that to begin with. I'll be honest. And like but at the same time, I really like Slipknot and like Gojira and like those kind of bands too, like Knocked Loose. I really like Knocked Loose.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's just I can't sing like that either. Like I can't just. I don't know. I can't do it.
Were you angry at the time?
I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A young angry kid. That's
But
normal.
teenager isn't.
Yeah, that's normal.
Young angry teenager. Just what the world needs.
I was gonna say, I think your dad Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say you probably didn't hate your father, because I think your dad is one of your biggest supporters. I see him constantly, sharing your stuff and reaching out to people and definitely a huge supporter of you guys. So yeah, you weren't like this angry, I hate my parents type of kid.
No, it was like
more societal angst.
Yes.
Well,
that's fair. That's fair.
So here's what happened. In my sophomore year, like my life like completely changed, because of COVID. And I was like, to be frank, I was kind of pissed off. I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? But I feel like I used it as a good thing. I started to like write music and do all this stuff with music. I was practicing for like 3 hours a day, and it was great because like before then, like I was super into it. Obviously, like I've been playing since I was 8 years old, and but that like when COVID happened is when like all this stuff really picked up for me, and like I got involved with like the local music scene. I started writing my my own music and stuff, and that was like way before Alex and Kyle. Like I knew them too. I was working with different people at the time, and I don't know. It was just like metal was just like a good way for me to like cope with everything, I guess. But even as like into September, like in the first year of COVID, I was like, I don't really know if I want to do this, because I'm starting to listen to all like this different music, and I never really had like an emo phase as a kid, because I was just thrash metal in it the whole time, and so I went back and I listened to like all this stuff that I missed, like this pop punk stuff, like this emo stuff, and I was like, wow, this is really great. Like, why have I never listened to this? Like the music, like the way it's just pieced together, I think is just incredible. And so like I started to like that stuff more, and then I found the big alternative genre, and they're like all these smaller indie bands that I started to follow. And I'm like, well, if I like this so much, then why am I doing what I don't want to do? So
definitely, and I think something for me musically, at least, that I like about transitioning kind of out of that metal phase is I love it when bands take influence from other genres, if like, especially from a drumming perspective, like there's something unique rhythmically and percussion wise to almost every genre, like whether it be Latin or jazz influenced or electronic or something like that. Everyone kind of has their own drums style rhythmically to throw into it. And I really like it, when if you have like a Dream Theater type song or maybe a Tool type song where they'll do like Latin style beats in the middle of it, or like classic African style drums, like that to me is super interesting to listen to when you have influences from all those different ideas and all those different genres, and you're not just, like you were saying, pigeonholing yourself into an idea or a sound.
Yeah, and just to add on top of that, a lot of the music that we've written so far, like song to song, they're all different. Like there's no genre of them. Like we have like a funk song, we have punk songs, blues songs, like it's all across the board. And in one of our songs, it's like the whole song is like this big like punk song, and then all of a sudden we go into like this reggae beat, and it's like this break in it. So, like Alex said, taking aspects or taking things from all across the board and putting it into our own is what we are doing currently.
Because we just try to make everything sound super interesting for the audience member, being a new and upcoming band, we don't have that staying power as someone more recognizable would. So we want to be able to capture their ear musically and have them want to check out our stuff afterwards.
That's cool. And how did you hook up with Alex and Kyle? You said you had two members prior to them. One was a female, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool because you don't see a lot of girls, rocking out, especially to the style of music you guys were performing. Did they leave on their own, or did you guys just kind of?
Yeah. I mean, like I would never want to like kick somebody out of anything, But yeah, she left on her own, and it was like what we had going. It was cool. Like people liked it, because it's like you said, it's different. We're playing like Hailstorm and like all those female fronted stuff. The Pretty Reckless was another band we were playing there for a while, and it was cool to like have a contrast in vocals with stuff.
Yeah.
But there came a point when Alex had come along while she was still there because we had a drummer situation for a while. And she was like, well, we want to make a change, and she was like all gung ho for making the change, but when the time came to put the work in, it wasn't happening, So she ended up leaving and going like pursuing her college and her work, and I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that by any means.
Not at all. And I wasn't trying to like bait you into like, saying anything.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine. I don't care.
It's always like a weird thing. It's like a breakup with a girlfriend or boyfriend, right? It's like, there's always two sides to a story. I wasn't trying to like, get anything out of you or any kind of dirt. It just obviously there was a lineup change, and I was curious as to how that happened.
Yeah, I think something that we realized is we want to do this professionally, and we want to, or at least as professional, quote unquote, possible, and we want to do this with as much passion as we have, and I think what it all boiled down to is that she just had passions for other things, and she wanted to pursue a career in psychology, and she wants to go to graduate school, and pursuing that academic life. That's something that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do. So when she had that opportunity, she wanted to pursue it, and I wish her all the luck, in the future. She's great person. We got along really well, and no ill feelings at all. It's just kind of, we were just parting different ways and had different plans for the future.
Yeah, we're very like, there's some people that will say that they're serious about something, but then they won't do the work for it. But I'd say we're pretty serious about this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people change. People, you're young. Things might change again in a year or two. I mean,
right.
Who knows? It just it's kind of life. Life is funny, man. It's you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Right. Oh, yeah. So we already booked like 12 shows for the spring and summer already. So we're really
guys. I saw you guys were part of the Big Break. That was a contest that was when was that? I feel like it was just recently, but maybe 2 months ago or so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 or 3 months.
And then I saw a bunch of dates. Like I said, you guys booked, and you have kind of booked out for the spring, summer, and I didn't hear from Kyle though. Kyle, you're very quiet.
Yeah. Just hanging out, listening, enjoying. But yeah, I joined back in November. I actually signed up for there's a website called Bandmix, and I signed up for that website probably like 4 years ago. Kind of just like because at that time I was like senior in high school, and I was like, why not? We'll just try it, see if I could find anybody in the area that's into music. And then I didn't really get anybody, but I kind of forgot about it. And then November of last year rolled around, and all of a sudden one night I got an email that I got a message on Bandmix from a band called 570. And I got this email saying, hey, we're looking for a bassist. Would you be interested? And I said, sure, definitely. When can I come in? So I went up to where we practice, and I tried out. I learned 3 songs, and I tried out, and I thought it was going to be like a thing where I went and kind of was going to have to wait to hear, back. But it worked out really good, and we seemed to mesh really well, like immediately. And I stuck with, and here I am today.
Now, Bandmix.
Yeah, it's like a website called Bandmix where you can sign up and kind of you can either look for or put yourself out there to be a member of a band.
So did you have like a profile, like I play X instrument and I like this style of music, and that they kind of, how does that work?
Right. Yeah. On the website, you can put a profile picture up. You put kind of like your age, what you play, a little bit about yourself, and like if you've ever been associated with other bands in the past, which I've never been. I've never played a live show until just late last year, so that was really cool. But I'm a guitarist and a drummer. I never really got super into bass until I joined, and then now that I have, I really love it.
And that's definitely reflected in his style, especially talking to my family afterwards. Like, my dad always says how cool his style of bass playing is, because it's very different from our previous bassist, because you play with a pick, right? That's like
I'm all picking.
It's like a picking style, and which is like it's from what I gather, it's pretty unusual for bass playing, but it provides such a cool, unique sound, and we play 10 billion times better, in my opinion. He really rounds us out.
Yeah, you don't see a pick that often with bass.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I think it fits the punk style well, though, because it's very percussive and it has like
it's aggressive.
It's got a nice thrashy tone to it for sure.
That's cool. Do you have any music that you mentioned earlier, like available on the streaming services, or not yet? You're still recording.
Not yet.
Because I would love to hear this new sound.
Yeah, we're not yet. We've been getting a lot of questions about that, and we're trying to get something going. Trying to find time to like go record. We're going to Elite Audio Recordings. It's in Kingston.
Yep.
And yeah, so it should be cool. We're probably going to try to go there in like the next month or two and get some stuff rolling, because we have probably 5 or 6 songs written now that can be recorded. So
yeah, we have some stuff on Spotify, under our old name, which we all agreed, especially after the lineup change and now our stylings, we want to change a little bit. We're kind of, drifting away a little bit. We still play some of those songs live, to pad the run times for our sets and everything. And the people do seem to enjoy them. But we're hopefully looking to record soon. Just it's expensive.
Yeah, that's the truth. It's nothing's cheap these days.
Oh yeah,
it's terrible.
But, it's luckily you get what you pay for, and we're looking to put in some good man hours and some good effort into it. So I think once we do get the recordings out, it'll just take us to that next level, and we'll be able to show people what we're really about. You can find clips of our songs. We have our Facebook page, Look Back Luna, I should say. And then our Instagram, Look Back Luna. God, it's new.
It's new. Yeah. Free pass. You get a pass.
We're cutting that out.
I don't edit.
Look Back Luna. And our Instagram is under the same name, and we have like clips from our shows and live streams and stuff like that on there. So if you really wanted to give us a listen, you could do that there, but we're hopefully going to have some better audio recordings soon.
I'll definitely have to go search that out, because I'm intrigued now. Like I said, the name popped up, a page you like, change its name to Look Back Luna. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And like I said, I've always seen the name out there, and I don't relate as well to you young kids as, one may think, right? So I was never like, I never wanted to reach out just to kind of say, let's just shoot the shit, right? I wanted to have a reason. So that was like perfect timing with everything. And now that I found out that you're not as young as I thought you were. So I was like, can I curse in front of these kids? I don't even know yet.
Yeah, fire away.
All right, cool. But Gabe mentioned some of his influences. Alex, what kind of influences do you have?
Well, I like to think that I have a pretty wide range. I grew up, my parents raised me on like the 60s and the 50s doo-wop music, kind of get that foundation of the musical understanding and kind of just progress forward. I grew up on a lot of Black Sabbath, Metallica, Megadeth. My current favorite band is Avenged Sevenfold. They're easily one of my favorite bands of all time. I just think musically they're something that I aspire to, and they're extremely creative in their process. And I'm in awe of their musicianship a little bit. I've been getting a lot more into like the post-punk scene. I think right now we're all kind of listening to Turnstile a little bit. They're a new band that's coming up, and we really like their sound and everything. But yeah, like Gabe said, a lot of that classic thrash metal I grew up listening to. My dad's a metalhead, and he really instilled that upon me. But I have a degree in musical theater. I studied musical theater in college, so I've done a lot of acting, a lot of show tunes, I guess you would call it. So I like to incorporate that kind of into our music writing as well, is kind of give it like a story feel. If I were watching like a production on stage, and what's the idea that we want to put across. So I have a lot of influences from classical composers, musical theater composers, kind of that show tune, big theatrical style behind it as well, kind of just coming from all over the place.
Sure. That's cool. Kyle?
Well, for bass, I never really listened to the bass in most songs until recently. So I've been really getting an ear on that now, because that's what I'm doing. So I got to listen to it sometime. I got to turn up the bass in all the tracks now.
That's the attitude.
But yeah, I'm a huge, like Alex, I'm a huge Avenged Sevenfold fan as well. I've been a fan. They're the guys that got me into metal. And I'm mostly into modern metal. My dad was into a lot of Boston and Journey and those kind of like 80s, like kind of classic rock kind of guys. And I always liked them, but I never got super into them. But what really got me into music was like Avenged Sevenfold, and more recently I've really enjoyed like Bring Me the Horizon. I know they get a lot of mixed reviews, but I'm a huge fan of all they do, and they really do a lot of the stuff that I think we can eventually get to too, where they can incorporate so many different sounds and get, especially with like a lot of the electronic elements that they use. It's incredible, all the sounds they can make and how big they can make their songs sound.
I'm surprised to hear that you guys are such big fans of Avenged Sevenfold, not because of the music that they play, but more so like of when they kind of started, which was like, I think the early 2000s, which was like almost like 20 years ago.
Album was like in 2001.
Yeah. My friend, like I have a friend that was big into heavy music. That's why I was introduced to them. But like, so, I mean, you guys weren't even born yet, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think where I kind of got it from is I like being a drummer. I love watching like drum covers on YouTube. And, growing up, I didn't have a band to play with. I just played on my dad's old kit in the garage. And so I would just always look for new songs to play. And that came with watching other people play those songs, like drum covers and stuff on YouTube. And then the drums are so epic and creative in almost every single in my opinion, in Avenged Sevenfold songs. So I just started watching drum covers of songs that I didn't know, and I just watched like "Bad Country" is one of their most famous songs and has some crazy drum parts in it. So I just was like, hey, this sounds cool. Let me look up more bands like this. And I'm a huge fan of older music as well. Like Gabe was saying earlier, a lot of music today sounds cookie cutter, overproduced, kind of has the same vibe to it, in my opinion. And the old adage goes, they just don't make music like they used to anymore. And I feel like a 50-year-old dude saying that, but it's kind of true. I really look towards those older songs that have an identity to them for inspiration.
Yeah, I just interviewed the lead singer from the Verve Pipe. And we were talking about the 90s. Obviously, he had the song "The Freshman" that came out in the mid 90s. And we were talking about how like the 90s was kind of the last like time like where singer-songwriters wrote their own music almost. And like today, it's just like everything's, you never know, who's writing the songs for, the artists and things like that. I'm not a huge fan of today's music, and you could probably chalk that up to my age as well, because I'm at that point in my life now where I'm like, this music stinks. What are they even saying? I can't even. What are these lyrics? You get WAP and things like that out there, and it's like, Jesus, what are we doing?
Yeah. I've certainly noticed that. Yeah, I've certainly noticed that with a lot of recent music, especially like that's in the mainstream. It's become so depressive. Whereas even like pop music, like 10, 15 years ago was kind of more upbeat and like it was catchy, but it was also like, it was a lot happier tones for most things, especially lyric wise. And I feel like the past like 5 or 6 years, maybe music has turned really, a lot of the lyrics and tones and stuff have just gotten really depressive, in my opinion.
Alex, is that a cat?
Yes, I have cats.
I've got two, man. I've got two.
I've been pretty good with keeping them out of the camera so far.
If mine wasn't upstairs, it would be down here behind me as well. It's funny.
Yeah, they like getting in on the action. What can I say?
Yeah, they're gonna be stars. All 5 viewers are gonna be like, that's a good cat's ass. But yeah, I mean, today's music is like, it's just wild. I'm trying to. I can't even like think of like some of the names that are out there. I mean, the Grammys were just last night, and there are some talented, I guess, singers, if you want to call them that. Like, Olivia Rodrigo, I think, is one of them that won a few awards last night. I think Billie Eilish is very talented. But yeah, it's just a weird, like when you get into the Cardi B's and the music that's full of like these weird sounds, like I can't even begin to even try to mimic the sounds that they make. It's just like, I mean, but again, maybe it's just my age show, and I really don't know. But I came from the age of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and the Foo Fighters and Alex. I mean, you're a drummer, right? I mean, what? I mean, were you a big fan of Taylor Hawkins?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, I think it goes without question that he was, a staple in the drumming community. Extremely creative, not only just as a drummer, but an extremely talented, just all-around musician. Like if you've ever seen clips of him singing, he had an incredible singing voice, excuse me in my ignorance, I'm sure he played other instruments as well, but I know that drumming and singing were mainly his things, and I think if someone can take their voice and apply it to a song really well, and especially they did a lot of Queen covers live when he would sing and everything like that, and Freddie Mercury is an incredible singer, and anyone that can cover a Freddie Mercury song and sing his vocals and do it justice, I think is something to be said for sure. And And, it's a tragic thing that we lose musicians as often as we do. And I think the only thing that we can do is appreciate the things that they put out and love them for the work that they do. And I know Taylor Hawkins had countless people who appreciated him for what he did, myself included.
Yeah, it was such a weird thing. I was in Atlantic City when the news broke, and I was just kind of like just taken back. Like I've only seen them play once, but they're definitely top five, favorite bands of mine. But I've seen countless shows on TV and DVDs when I was growing up and things like that. And I didn't know him at all. But I just felt like I did know him. Like he had that big smile on his face. He was just always very like just energetic when he was performing and all this kind of stuff. And and like his relationship that he had with Dave Grohl. And I think his last show, he came out and said that if it wasn't for Dave Grohl, he would be delivering pizzas. So I feel bad for Dave Grohl. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think the Foo Fighters go on as the Foo Fighters. That's just what I kind of think.
Right.
Which is a shame because I always say too, like my parents, they had the Rolling Stones, and there's very few bands that have that long life span. Rolling Stones and things like that. And I felt like the Pearl Jams and the Foo Fighters and those bands are kind of like equivalent to the Rolling Stones. Like there will never be another band that has that kind of staying power. So to lose, Taylor and possibly the Foo Fighters, I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's exactly, it kind of reminded me of, when we lost Joey Jordison very recently as well, especially being a drummer. Like he was such a big influence on my drumming as well. And it's just one thing, I guess, if you could draw any sort of silver lining out of this, is it always shows in the music community how much like every musician is there for each other. I've seen a lot of posts on social media of people who I wouldn't even know who Taylor Hawkins was, because they're not necessarily in the rock community or something like that. Like I've seen classical composers like more in his passing, which is like something that you wouldn't see very often. And I think that that's, very telling to the popularity and also the level of talent that the Foo Fighters had and possess as well.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the rest of their tour was canceled this year, so.
Right. It kind of reminds me of how, Mike Portnoy said he would like to tour with Rush, and play drums for Rush. But it's kind of like, would you do it without Neil?
Yeah.
I
think if they were to go on, it would have to be like a big name drummer that kind of they're not going to just replace him with just some guy.
For sure.
It would have to be like, trying to even think of a drummer that can replace him. I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah, and ultimately it's up to them. I think if they decide to continue and move on with their music careers and try and push forward, then I wish them all the luck. But it's completely understandable. They were all best friends with each other.
Yeah, it's sad to see, for sure. But Gabe, I wanted to talk about your dad.
All right.
I always really admire and find a lot of I don't know the word I want to use, but like I guess it's different for me as being a father now. And like, I mean, my son is 4 years old, and I'm proud of him every day. And like, he could do like the simplest thing, and it's like, oh my God, like this is awesome. So I can only imagine like, how your dad feels about you and watching you, grow and advance as a musician. And again, I see him constantly sharing things on social media and being one of your biggest supporters. How much does that mean to you?
I mean, if it wasn't for my dad and my family, I mean, this probably wouldn't be where it is, if we're going to be honest, because like out of the gate, like when I started playing music, my late grandmother was like, she's very like talented in music. She played the piano. Like she never like took a lesson or anything, and she just played stuff by ear. which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And my dad, he used to play in like a cover band, right before I was born. Excuse me. And so when I started originally like playing, like when I was like 8 and 9, like I got a guitar for Christmas that year when I was 8, and I started taking lessons with a guy named Greg Biala. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a phenomenal musician. And I would sit in my aunt's living room and like play the guitar for my family when I was 8. And I mean, I was horrible, but they were like, yes, And I mean, like thinking about that now, like that's like the greatest thing that that would happen to me in like my music career, because like if I didn't have that initial support from my family, even in the beginning, like it probably wouldn't be where I am now, And now that like I'm doing all this like original band stuff, and now that like my dad used to go see shows all the time, like go to all like these metal festivals and stuff. And for him to support all our music, share it to all these groups on Facebook, like it's the greatest thing ever. Because like I'm like, Dad, I'm in school. Can you share this to X page and whatever? And like, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And it's great. I mean, there's no bigger supporter in this world than my father and then my family.
Yeah.
Like we could blow up tomorrow and have people like, and then my father still be like, number one fan.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like there's no other way to put it. And there's been people that have came up to him. I know I can't remember who it was, but one of the people from the Big Break had come up to him and said stuff about like, I started playing music when I was younger and my parents never really got behind it, and like you have no idea how much it means to see you supporting your kid, and
yeah, it's interesting because obviously parents want the best for their children, and
right.
Not every kid who picks up a guitar is going to be the next Dave Grohl or anything like that.
Right.
So you never know. So it's always like they want to make sure you have a backup plan, and it's like I can only imagine how hard it is to kind of be supportive of the music, but also like know that it doesn't happen for everyone, especially in today's landscape. I mean, I don't know how bands, I mean, you can get, famous on TikTok for, whatever, a song or two. I don't even know how it works anymore, but like, it's got to be exponentially harder today than it was. I think, yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more opportunity because of streaming services and things like that. I just feel like there's just so much.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I feel like it's just as difficult in a way, but for different reasons. Like I feel like with the advent of, like social media and YouTube and all those kinds of things, like there's almost a oversaturation of people that are looking to pursue a career in music. Like, everyone and their mother has like a TikTok account posting clips of them singing or playing the ukulele or like clips of their bands playing live. And that's something that I've and that we've all brought up at one point or another is our public image and our social media image is very important, because it's you can have the greatest songs that are ever written, but if you don't have a place or a account on some sort of website where people can check you out, nowadays at least, you're not going to progress as far, because most outreach and most discovery is done through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever you want to call it. Yes. And I think that, the music and the image are just as important nowadays. Whereas, if you just had a good sound back in the day, you could get propelled forward a little bit more. I feel like people are a little bit more picky about what they want nowadays because there's so much more people. The supply is almost higher than the demand almost. Mm-hmm. So you got to kind of match that and up your game a little bit.
Right. And not only that, a couple of things to just add on top of that. Two of them are about TikTok. I saw a TikTok the other day that it was this guy. He went to like this underground show. Like I don't know where it was. I don't know when it was. Whatever. And he posted like this video of him in the bathroom with like there's just stickers plastered all over this bathroom wall of like these hundreds and hundreds of different bands and or artists. And he's like, I think the caption was something along the lines of, I never realized like how big the universe is with all these bands. And because like anybody can go record something now and then put it out. Like I feel like 20, 30 years ago, you had to have some kind of deal with some kind of record company to put anything out significantly. Like we can put out a song tomorrow and it can be streamed any place in the world that literally probably anywhere that has internet, which is crazy because, and like we've gotten streams like from, the old page, like, and we have songs with like a couple thousand streams, whatever. But like you can go on Spotify for artists and you can see like where all the streams come from, and it gives you like this big world map, and you can click on it and it shows you like how many listeners are in a certain country, how many streams you get from certain countries. And there's like people in Peru listening to our music, which is like it just boggles my mind. Like who the hell is listening to my music in Peru? Like I want to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it's crazy. But at the same time, it's like you said, not only is there such like a high supply of it, it's harder for things to like get stuck into people's heads now.
Yeah.
Because you have so much information, just like you can look up anything, you can hear anything you want, like with the click of a button. Like not that there's anything wrong with that by any means, but I feel like just, studies show like your time span or whatever is lower now because of social media, and you can just swipe through things like crazy. Which I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all the same way. Like you see something, oh, that's nice, and then in 5 seconds you forget about it. So, it's definitely harder in that way. But like Facebook has targeted ads and stuff you can do. Like that's something we've been looking into, but it's expensive. It's like it's definitely a pay to win society. You could spend $300 on a Facebook ad and then it do nothing. But you could also at the same time spend $5 on it and then it do something and you get a couple followers out of it, whatever.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, and like you said, like back in the day when the what you did was you recorded music, and like you said, you had to have like either some kind of financial backer, or you had to get your demo tape in the right hands. But like, it wasn't easy. Don't get me wrong; it wasn't easy at all. But like, I think the quality was better. And like going back to what you said, I mean, perfect example. I'm an idiot with a podcast, right? And everybody can have a podcast, like you said. You just put it on the internet, and it's there. And we're not Joe Rogan. We're not, name a top podcaster out there. Like, so the quality kind of like there's all this content out there, but like how much of it is quality? And I don't consider this to be quality. I mean, the audio could be a lot better. I hope people enjoy it for what it is. But like back then, when I think things were released, the quality was there because there was like things behind it. There was money behind it. There were record labels behind it. It's just a different world.
Yeah. And I think on the same side of it is that, certain aspects today, it's much easier to get your name out there because anyone can post anything anywhere at any given time. You didn't have to wait to be discovered, or you didn't have to wait to finally headline your first show or something like that. There's always opportunities, at least for you to put your product out there, whether it be your music or a music video or like a live stream or something like that. So in that aspect, we're extremely lucky that we're coming up in a time where, we have the ability to reach people in Peru or Mexico or the UK or something like that, which was extremely hard back in the day, before the advent of like the internet or social media or something like that. But I just think, like we said before, it's for different reasons. It's both difficult and easier.
It's great. I mean, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
and I think it really tests us as musicians, because we're kind of in a time where, there was a formula on how to do it before. Like every band that ever got famous in the 80s or the 90s kind of did it the same way. And it was the same structure, the same process on how you get discovered and produce your first album and do everything like that. I mean, nowadays, even the idea of doing an album is kind of fading out a little bit. Now it's more about singles and EPs or live recordings or something like that. And so we don't know in 10 or 15 years what the vehicle will be for people to intake our music and who we are.
Who knows? I mean, that's wild to think about too, because I mean, so much has changed in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Imagine how it's going to change, 10 years from now. I can't even imagine.
I mean, even 10 years ago, podcasts weren't even really a big thing. And now that I'm obsessed with podcasts now, I can't get enough of them, but they're a pretty new advent, before it was all radio or talk shows or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So in every aspect, I think, of entertainment and society, it's kind of progressing.
I guess we'll see. But you guys are young guys, and the whole life ahead of you. It's cool to see you guys out there, doing this and making a good effort out of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Gabe, before I let you guys go, I gotta touch on one more thing, and I don't want it to sound weird, but we're on social media. You put it on social media. You've not only has the band made a transformation, you yourself have also personally made a transformation.
Yeah.
You're jacked, bro.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Was that part of the pandemic too? You're just like, what? Let's get nuts.
I was like, it was time. I mean, it's something I'll post on social media, and then I don't really know how to like talk about it. Like I'll make a post that's like 3 sentences, and then somebody will send me a message that's like 4 paragraphs on how I think through my experience how they should do this and this and this, and I'm like, I have no idea. You know what I mean? But I mean, like I try to help people. Like I go to the gym for like 5 days a week. Like when I go to school, I just go right after. And I mean, yeah, I mean it's a lot of it. It taught me like a lot about, not about like working out or anything, just about like work ethic and how things need to get done in life. No part of me wants to go to the gym 5 days a week and be like, yes, this is great. This is so great. I'm going to have such a great day. I don't have a headache. That's horrible. I'm not going to lie to you. And, but it's like, it goes like both ways. Like there's really good days, and then there's really horrible ones. But like the days that are really bad, if you push yourself to your limit, then your good days are going to be that much better. And I've noticed like that in a lot of different aspects of life too, like especially with music. Like there's days that I don't want to pick up my instrument too, you know what I mean? But I'm like, Gabe, you've been doing this for 10 years. You just got to do it for at least a half hour, man, And there's days I don't want to reply to messages on Facebook of people like, hey, you want to play this show, whatever. Like, yeah, of course I want to play the show. I just don't want to deal with it right now. You know what I mean? And I know I'm pretty sure every musician can definitely agree with me on that. Like there's just some days like you're so like amped up and you're like, I'm going to promote this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to send an email to this place. I'm going to do this and that and this, whatever. But like some days it's like you don't have the same drive to do it, but doing something, like something will come of that. For example, like I have sent like probably 100 emails to all these different places to book shows, and not all of them get back to me, which I mean that's perfectly fine. But if I sent out 50 of those emails, we wouldn't have 12 shows, we'd have 6. You know what I mean? Yep. And there's some days that like I don't want to do it at all, which like I said, that's fine. But it's like getting through it.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, good for you. When I was 30, I got in the best shape of my life. I was doing this boxing program, working out 5 days a week, weighing my food, not partaking in alcohol, beverages. It was miserable. It's absolutely miserable. I mean, I think the diet portion of the whole thing was worse than the actual workout part.
Yeah, it can definitely get bad.
It was a miserable existence, and I was not one to like get creative. So I would literally, for like the 6 meals that I had per day, like I would just eat like chicken, broccoli, and like brown rice or whole wheat rice.
Right.
That's it. Like it was the blandest diet I've ever been on, but it worked.
Right.
But yeah, I was miserable. I mean, I know I did have some alcoholic beverages. I had like one drink a week, and it had to be like a vodka tonic, which I'm a beer guy. It was just miserable, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely something you gotta do when you're young too. Like you gotta start those routines and those habits when you're young, and when you have the time and when you have the energy. I wish I would have done it earlier. And I definitely didn't stick with it. It wasn't sustainable for me.
Yeah. Another like big aspect of it was I was like, I really want to go out and I want to perform. Like I want to do that. And when I would do that prior to like my, like losing weight and working out, whatever, like I would be wiped out in like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I was almost 250 pounds. Like I was a big kid. And to go and like, because I wanted to run around like Angus Young on stage, like I wanted to put on like that kind of show, and it just couldn't happen. So that was like the first step for me. I was like, well, if I want to do this, and if I'm working so hard at like writing music, I might as well work hard in like the other half of it too. So I did, and now I can, like I don't like to run at all. I hate it. But recently I've been like forcing myself to do it. Like last week I ran 2 miles and it was like the worst thing I've ever done. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was pretty bad.
How many miles?
2, which is like I like in my head I'm gonna tell myself I could probably run like 6, but I run 2 and I want to fall over. So.
Okay, I probably couldn't even run a quarter mile without collapsing. So you're all good.
That's funny.
Yeah. But that's that's it for me. Like I said, it goes both ways. It's like if I want to do the music thing, like I'll do this thing too. Like I gotta stay in shape,
Yeah, it's all part of it, man. So good for you. Good for you. Well, I'm excited for what's to come from Look Back Luna. I'm excited for you guys in general. Just changing the name, changing the style of music. You have to hustle and booking shows. So yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, I'll get out there and catch one of them finally.
All right, cool.
We'd love to have you come and check us out sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We're doing a live stream on, well, I don't know when this is going to get uploaded, but it'll be Thursday, April 7th. And
that's this week.
Yeah, and it's only going to be like a 25-minute live stream. We're just going to play like all our new songs that we have, just so we can like we live streamed our show over the weekend, but like we didn't like promote that we were going to like live stream it or anything. It just kind of happened. And so yeah, we're actually like there's an event page for it. Like we're going to do a live stream from Rockology Music Academy.
Oh,
and, like,
cool.
they have back there. So that's where we practice.
Very cool. Yeah, I actually have another podcast I'm recording with it's a new band called Variant Season. It's a guy who used to be in Behind the Gray.
Oh, cool.
But obviously that's going to be up after the fact, right?
Yeah.
So this will probably go up next week, the week of, what's today's date? Today is
the 4th.
So the week of the 11th. So anyone listening or watching this at this moment, you can go back to the Look Back Luna Facebook page and check that out. So that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And what can people expect from you guys this year?
Well, I'm not sure for like the end half of the year, but I at least know for now we're playing some pretty cool shows. We're playing a show in June at this place called The Church in Lebanon. I don't know if you're familiar with it or if anyone listening is familiar with it, but it's this super cool venue, and it's like an art studio, and they put on a lot of cool shows. and we're playing with this band called Slap. They're a really good punk band, and they have quite a following down there. So it's going to be cool. So that's something to look out for. That's going to happen in, I think it's June 17th. Like it's a while from now, but it's still going to be something really cool.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe not in 2022, but in the next calendar year, we might get some recordings done and get all that out for people to listen to.
Sweet. Well, best of luck. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully Kyle's a little more talkative in your band practices.
I'm the bassist. I just play bass, and
You just provide the rhythm.
Don't say that.
All right. All right.
You're our bass master, Kyle.
Bass master Kyle. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for doing this with me tonight. Had a great time, talking and learning more about you. And again, like I said, I'm very much looking forward to what you guys do in the future.
Yeah, this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Cool,
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
I'll message you with the details of when this will be up, and you can use it for whatever you want.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
Sweet.
It'll definitely be on our page.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Later.
Bye.